right. Take it away, Apolsor. Hey, Mario.
Hey guys.
I'll go to my website and yeah, people could actually go ahead and pre-order this. All this will be ready in the end of this month. So yeah, they'll have a better AI experience. Like they will prompt, they could prompt the AI from the Discord server. So they have like increased tokens, which is the length of the response, and they unlock an improved model. And I'll put all of the automation stuff in the paid version so they could like have content delivered every so often, and I'll make it customizable as well in the future. But yeah, someone can log in. I'll probably just scan the QR code from my end because I'm not putting my credentials on a live session, right?
Yeah.
But here we go. Let's log in and authorize. And what this will do, it'll redirect me to Stripe, and this will actually work. So yeah, it's 50% off until pre-order until it launches. So yeah, that's the monthly. And then if I hit yearly as well, it'll redirect me to the yearly subscription. That was really hard to pull off, but I managed to do that in a couple of days. So yeah, and so far I've been improving the chat mechanism that it's automated. So right now it's not making sense, but at least it's not that there was some major problems with it. I had to put a filter on it so it doesn't bring up sensitive topics. You know, AI be doing whatever it wants to do. But yeah,
Very cool.
I have to adjust it so it doesn't talk to itself this often.
Yeah. How was integrating ChatGPT into it? Was that a difficult process, including the API key, making the API calls and all that stuff to your
No,
bot?
actually it was one of the most developer friendly APIs out there.
Hmm,
Yeah. I mean, it's very beginner friendly as well.
that's cool. I haven't played around too much. I've played around with like the playground and all that stuff on OpenAI's page site, but I haven't actually tried to integrate it into like a project of mine. But that's really cool.
It just sent a meme 9:05 a.m. It does all this
Huh,
automatically.
That's pretty
that's
cool.
cool. How do you integrate that? Is that a built-in feature, or did you just figure out how to code that to do it like on its own?
Yeah, so I used Reddit's API, and I I have like one API call per day to retrieve data from r/memes.
Mm,
And yeah, it's about 40 posts, and it'll just send a random post for each server, and every day it resets.
What if the Reddit links are broken? Few times the image don't load. What's your call on that?
So usually if the Reddit links are broken, there's some posts that won't have images at all.
Yeah, I just saw yesterday. It was just loading. I just clicked on the link and it says it was broken.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll work on that, but so far I've integrated a mechanism that skips posts that don't have images at all.
Cool.
That's pretty,
that's
and does it
cool.
get like the top 40 or top 40 posts on memes?
What was that?
Sorry, does this get like the top 40 or the most popular 40 posts on r slash
Yeah,
memes?
yeah. I tried doing new posts, but that didn't turn out well because usually the newer posts are a bit questionable. So I did the top 40 of the subreddit.
And what if the top 40 today are the same as the top 40 yesterday?
So that's why I have this mechanism that will refresh every single day. So it deletes the every post I have for that day and it retrieves new posts.
Hmm.
Do you ever see like repeats of like similar posts on like the following day?
Yeah, but the probability is slim. It's happened a few times.
That's cool. With the Reddit API change, you have to pay for that now?
I'm using the free version. It's limited, but
Mm,
I plan on it's like 24 cents per 1,000 API calls. And I'm not making that many, so it's not that much of a concern to me.
yeah, very cool. Do you have any more ideas as to like future ideas of how you want to integrate like Chat GPT or maybe a different AI model?
Yeah, yeah, I plan on improving ChatGPT drastically today because, well, for one thing, I need to seriously bug fix the whole thing.
Mm,
Last night at 3 a.m. it just completely shut down, and
Hmm.
I have yet to figure out why it did that.
It could be the heavy thread runs on the API calls, probably.
It might be.
Yeah, do you have a premium account with OpenAI?
Yeah,
Okay. Because I know that I think there's a rate limit with the amount of calls you can make and also the response time with using OpenAI's API.
yeah. The
Um,
thing is, it doesn't really make any call unless it's turned on for the server, unless the automation's turned on, which I'm pretty sure it's turned off for every server that I'm in. So it wouldn't be making a lot of calls. It probably wouldn't make any call right now.
hmm, hmm.
Oh, do you think that your bot can make invites to other people to join?
I'm thinking about, yeah, having an embed and having a feature to like have that set up,
Okay.
but like I don't think it could advertise other servers. I don't think that's allowed on bot lists.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, if there's any specific thing that you'd want with invites, then I'll probably try to see what I could do about that. But there's it's kind of it's a risky area to get into.
I see. So you could get a kind of infringement, right? If you're doing something that you're not supposed to, or for example, like sending private messages, too many private messages, right?
Yeah,
Asking people to join. Okay.
yeah.
So you have to limit that.
These bot lists have pretty strict rules. You have to make sure that it doesn't use any more permissions than it needs to use. Stuff
Mhm.
like that. They go through intense moderation. So yeah.
Okay.
What inspired you to make this?
So I did have an idea before because I was starting out on Twitter and I thought to myself, hey, if I was able to check out YouTube analytics and Twitter analytics at the same spot, that would be very quick for me. I've integrated something like that so far. I have YouTube search, so I could select the channel here, and
Nice.
yeah, it'll load that up. And I plan on integrating more detailed analytics in the near future. But this is an MVP, so anyways.
Okay. How about searching the channel for a video and then just directly embedding it, right? If you get what I'm saying. So you've shown this channel here, right? That's your channel, right?
Yeah.
So imagine just searching your channel for a specific video and just showing it here. Would that be possible?
Yeah, that would be possible. That would actually be very easy to implement. I haven't done that yet, but I could do that.
Okay. just for so you can easily share, so you don't have to go to YouTube, right? Click share and then paste it in here.
Yeah, I've also implemented a mechanism that announces when your YouTube channel has a new post, or same for
Oh, that's nice.
a
Yeah,
GitHub repository, it'll announce that commits
okay.
in the repository, and Twitch live streams.
So
Yeah,
you're
that's nice. Yeah, okay.
so this is the next social blade on Discord.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love that. Very cool. Do you have any other new features or upcoming features that you'd like to share?
The only thing I have in mind is custom subreddits. That's going to be pretty fun. But other than that, I think that's all I have for now.
Cool. Stay tuned for the
What
custom
about
subreddits.
What about sales? How do you do, how do you find your users? Is it just Twitter, or have you tried talking to some people and introducing this to someone, to put like potential users?
Yeah, I've tried joining other Discord servers, just talking about
Okay.
it. Some people are actually curious about it and actually want it on their server, and some people don't care. Like, I just leave them alone. But for those that are curious, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do more of that, because I can tell you from what I've seen, it's like the ratio is like 5 to 500. If you make 500 inquiries, you'll get like 5 sales. So
Yeah,
just don't give up.
yeah.
And,
Good
and
advice.
also, yeah, so and also try to make a documentation of all the commands. There's
Yeah,
a lot of commands here, and I tried to use them, so I didn't really get to know what commands were for which. So I had to refer Incubator session 1, where you showed the demo of it. So try making documentation for all the command.
Yeah, I have a help command that shows a brief summary of them. But yeah, I'll improve documentation. That's a must.
Yeah, so link to the landing page, that would be good.
Yeah,
I think you can just host it. You can host documentation on GitHub, right?
yeah, I can.
I'm going to place it there. So I think that's easy.
So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for showing all the new features, Apolsor. Very excited to see all the new implementations that you have coming up. And just keep up. I love seeing your posts on Twitter. So keep up the awesome work, man. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we'll probably go in order on who joined first. So Suhas, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I will show you next. Let me share my screen. So I hope you can see the screen.
Yep.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes.
So mine is not an SaaS or MVP. It's a trained model, like for research oriented learning educational purpose. So this is the AI Rubik's Cube solver. I recently did a documentation of this on Twitter with a built-in public community. So let me give a brief introduction about me. So my name is Suhas. I'm from India. I'm right now 16-year-old at grade 11. I am interested in front-end development in web design, and also did my AI course from University of Helsinki, Finland, through an online certification course. I also co-founded Unifix, an AI research oriented company and organization for building products useful for others. And this is an open source project available on GitHub. So this is the UI for the solver. It has a custom cube analysis feature and can analyze complex cube structure. It can also be colored anyway with the help of the color palette there. And then it can be solved step by step by giving you a tutorial of the animation on the cube, and can be even solved directly. So why did I do this? So it was for research. It can be helpful for education. It can be even helpful for approaching new algorithms in the AI infrastructure for furthermore experimenting them. So these are the key features here. So it can also solve in the least number of steps, which is very crucial in terms of speed and accuracy for a cuber. And the stacks I have used in this is a simple JavaScript program, a web UI for HTML and CSS, few AI algorithms tuned in with the cube algorithm to analyze the metrics of this app. And these are the links. You can check it out. It's on GitHub. I will show you the demo of this now.
Awesome.
So this is the cube solver. Let me go ahead and download it.
So you're using GitHub Lite theme. It's a bold choice.
So I hope you can see the screen now.
Yep.
Yep. So this is it. This is a 3D model where you can see the cube. I have a cube right now in my hand, right? So let me go ahead and give it a good mix. So this is the cube which has shuffled, and let me try to paint this same cube on the palette here. So it starts with the middle center, which is orange, yellow, green, white, yellow, green, green, red, blue, orange, red, yellow, white. So here, there's a feature here. So this is the color palette. I have not colored here properly, and it can all analyze the cube saying that it cannot solve the invalid painting. So it cannot solve this. So once again, let me check it out. So it's an orange here, and it gets to know it's all aligned properly, and the error message moves out. And when we click on step-by-step process, it scans the cube and it generated a series of step in 29 moves. It can solve the cube in 29 moves. Let me show you it. So this is the cube, and I started with this. So it goes up like this. Then here, almost 3 steps. And here, it solves it.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yes.
Okay, I have one thing just immediately came to my mind.
Yeah.
One question. Have you done anything with like image analysis and image like recognition?
No, there's nothing with image recognition. It's all pattern-wise recognition. It
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
to know.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's
So
the thing. So the next thing that what you could do, so that's what
Yeah.
just literally came to my mind.
Okay.
is that if you do have something like a photo, right, or a
Yes.
video, you just,
So
right,
with
if you get what I'm saying. So it would immediately be able to recognize, so you don't have to tell it what the current state is, right? It would be able to recognize it, and then you just click solve. But in that case, if you had that, right, you can do that for many other algorithms. And then I think it becomes, like useful in many other cases, right? And then it immediately becomes something that you can turn into a SaaS, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
that would solve people's problems. Exactly, right. So there you go.
Yeah, this was the main problem which I created. Was I was learning this cube and I didn't find many resources which could solve it, and a lot of them had no 3D movement structure for any least number of steps, and it was hard for me to learn it. And once I learned it through tons of YouTube tutorials, and then I thought of building it for others to be helpful for others. And also
Yeah, this clearly works.
this could also be implemented with the OpenCV Python package. It can just recognize by keeping it on the camera. That would also be
Exactly.
good.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually. Using OpenCV. Wow, that's impressive. Explain the model. What kind of model are you using?
It's just a normal cube algorithm which is implemented with JavaScript. It analyzes each and every corner, how it's gets shuffled when you place in the middle of this, like the middle part are the sources of the color. Each color represents one side, and each corner gets moved along. For you example, it moves. So it gets to know which area it moves, and then it analyzes and predicts the move, and then it generates a step of series to solve. It's just no API keys and all. It's just if else statements and a ton of other algorithms of the cube itself.
Very cool.
So is this using AI?
Yeah, kind of. Yes. Because it analyzes how the cube is, and it also detects error of the color matching.
Nice.
So it's more of a functional thing rather than machine learning?
No, there's no machine learning here.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably
If
don't
I
need
had,
machine learning since if you know the algorithm and the motions, you probably can just use a bunch of if-else
Yeah.
statements.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that would be better.
yeah, in machine learning, you have to import the model and then fine tuning it. It becomes a lengthy process and just
Yeah.
complicates the whole process. As of now, the cube is itself a complex algorithm to solve. With that, implementing machine learning, we could do that in the future near somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you don't need machine learning to solve it, right? I think like the Rubik's Cube is a solved puzzle. You can use,
Yeah.
I think, like you said, like group theory or something to solve.
Yeah, yeah,
It's super cool. Very impressive.
cool.
How did you do the 3D cube? What,
3.js.
Okay.
I tried going through documentation for 3D models on the internet, and I found it very complicated to integrate this color pattern to the live model here. And so I just dropped the idea of normal CSS and went out with 3.js. That would be better. There's no CSS involved here.
Yeah, if you wanted to do that in pure CSS, good luck.
It
That'd be tough.
it's a
That'd have been
series. Yeah, the UI takes a lot of time to build, and then your code get crashed, and you try to bug fix it all day long.
yeah. Do you have any? What are your current future plans for this? Where do you want to take this?
Try to scale it to mass educational platforms, or try to make it even more better, as Mario said, image optimization. Just know how to analyze it through an image, and then we would move it to a SaaS later.
Very cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
because if you think about it, I mean, if you think about it, if you have a complex problem that you cannot solve, but if you can decompose it into many smaller ones, right?
Yeah,
So if it even comes down to something like a Rubik's Cube, right? Right, so that's solvable. And if you have many such small ones that are solvable, you just have to identify all the parts of the larger problem, if you get what I'm saying, right? And just say, okay, I can identify this small problem, and if you solve for all of those, you basically solve the whole large problem. And then, yeah, then it becomes really useful.
yeah, that makes sense. You can, there are actually a lot of type of Rubik's Cube. This is just a 3x3. We can even make a
Yeah.
4x4, 2x2, 5x5. Even there's a pyramid. I don't know about that. How would that be? We could scale it to a larger model for all type of cubes.
Yeah, I think people would really like that actually, especially if they receive this really well. If they like it. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So the next plan is to make a landing page and interlink all of these projects on that one stream instead of navigating through repositories.
Mhm. Yeah, streamline it in that way is a good idea. Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Khalil, would you like to go? I'm also pronouncing that your name, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
By,
Yeah,
by
should
the
I
way,
share?
where are you from, Khalil?
Oh, so I'm in the UK right now.
Okay.
But yeah, my parents are like Indian, Pakistani, so
Cool.
yeah, so I can share my screen. I
Take it
don't
away.
have anything prepared as nice as you did, Suhas. I hope
Oh.
I can talk through. I'm just gonna actually join again from my browser. So actually right now on my phone.
Sure.
Can you see?
Starting up. Yep,
Yeah,
now we can
yep.
see.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm working on CodelessAPI. The initial aim of it was some like a website where you could drag and drop your different data sources and you can do manipulations on it, and you could come out with some JSON output or some kind of response. And that was my initial idea. But then when I started building it, I realized that there's already many tools out there which do what I was hoping to do much better. And for me to reach feature parity with them would take quite a while. So I switched it into something where you could drag and drop your different data sources, do some operations on it, and create it as an API. So if you have a Google Sheets, a CSV, Postgres, I think now I support Airtable as well, and JSON. You can use that and then create an API from it. So that is how it currently works. Just recently, I added support for ChatGPT. So you can pass in your data into ChatGPT, and for each row, you can get it to execute some ChatGPT code that you have. I'm going to be enhancing it so that you can actually just pass in your whole data source in one chunk and pass it to ChatGPT, and it can come up with some kind of summary or analyze it, whatever you've decided. I've also started to add some visualizations. So I know I've seen maybe some similar sites offering things such as you can embed the results in a table or embed the results as a chart. So that's something I'm currently working on. So just recently added the bar chart functionality, and I'm going to be adding pie chart and tables and stuff like that. So this is the current website and what it looks like. I've started working on a redesign for this. I think I posted it on Twitter yesterday. Hopefully I should have that done soon. But yeah, I can show you, I guess, some examples of how it works.
Please do.
trying to see if it's taking a while to load. But yeah, the aim of this, like I'm still currently unsure what the next steps would be. So I've been adding more and more different data sources. I'm going to start adding more operations. So right now you can do stuff like filter. You can order it. You can map the output. So if the output has a name field, you can map it to something else like first name or last name. But yeah, so right now I'm still currently unsure. So I'm going to start adding stuff like group by, some account, essentially some of the stuff that you can do in SQL, but adding that as operations that you can do in CodelessAPI. But I was trying to think of the broader picture. So the broader picture, I guess someone would be using this to be part of their website. So if they have like a Google Sheet, they don't want to have their own database. So I think the next step would also be is providing the functionality to use your Google Sheet or Airtable or whatever, and building a form on top of it. So I think that's the next step that I'm going to be going in. Again, I think the form I'll start off really simple, see if there's interest in it, and if there is, then I can build that out. Okay, so it's loaded now. So if I run this, hopefully there should be some data that comes back.
And you're showing us what does this API do?
Okay, so yeah, so you connect everything to start, and then you connect it all the way to the end. And then what it'll do is it'll just run everything in the order that you've defined it. So for this CSV read, so I clicked on this and I dragged it onto the screen. And then you can configure it. So I'll move this one, but you can configure this one. Oh, sorry, this API just ran. This is the data that was read from here. So if I configure this, it'll show you that I'm retrieving application and users. And these are the different applications that I could have. It's just dummy data, and these are the users. And then if you see in the bar chart, I'm passing in application as the X labels, X labels, and the data, the Y axis, are the actual user information.
Wow.
So this is one API example of how you could use this to render a chart. So to actually get the API, if you go into your start, you can copy this and you can run it in your browser. What this would actually do is it would return this. And since this is dynamic, this is like HTML or JavaScript, it's not an image. It would actually return some HTML. So for right now, if someone was to embed this, they'd have to embed it within an iframe. So I'm working on making this come out as an image, so that someone could just put it into their like image tag. That's something I'm working on. So those are the next steps that I have for bar chart. For like the read here, Google Sheets, CSV and stuff, I need to add, I think there is the PSV, which is like pipe separated values. It's similar to CSV, and then also Excel. Recently, someone was asking if it supports MySQL and MongoDB. So that's something I'm going to be looking into. And then everything I have in read, I need to update create to support it. So right now I don't have create for Airtable, but I'll just add this in. Essentially, I just want to have all the like the CRUD operations here. So create, read, update, delete. And then once I have that, it'll be an easy transition to use a data source and convert that directly into a form. I think that would be quite. And yeah, in the operations, again, like I want to enhance this to add group bys, sums, counts. I also want to add if-else statements or branching. And that way, yeah, if your data source, you want to have multiple different paths, you could do that. And then into advanced operations, currently I also only have ChatGPT. So I've made this into a premium requirement, or only added this to the premium like price plans. And the reason is, so what I've done here is I've actually connected to my own ChatGPT. And then whenever you pass your data, it'll go through mine. And because ChatGPT charges you based on tokens that you've used, this will actually cost me. But yeah, I'm going to add another ChatGPT option where you can just plug in your own ChatGPT credentials. And then, yeah, that'll be free since that will be charging me. And for visualizations right now, I'm using a bar chart. But yeah, I think this is what I have so far. I think some of the inspiration that I've gotten for this and the reason I pivoted more into APIs is I've seen some websites where you can plug your Google Sheets and create an API from it. So I thought, yeah, I mean, this can not only plug in your Google Sheets, but you can plug in everything else. But I think the reason maybe this isn't as attractive as the other websites is I think there's a couple of extra steps. So you would actually have to come here, you would have to click read and drag it. Whereas in some of the other websites I've seen, you can just paste your link and it'll automatically create, read, create, update, and delete APIs. So I have thought about perhaps changing it here. So instead of APIs, I have complex APIs where you're essentially using the drag and drop builder, and then some simple APIs where you can just drop in like a CSV or a Google Sheet link, and it'll automatically generate all the different APIs for you. That could be an option. I also did add API monetization. So I was talking to someone on, so I posted this on Reddit, Indie Hackers on Twitter, and on Reddit, someone reached out to me saying they're interested in having an option where they could monetize their APIs. So I've added this. They still haven't started working on it. But essentially you can, if you go into your API monetization, you can select any of your APIs that you have, and then you'd be able to monetize it. It's like with this.
Wow, I love this.
Yeah, and then you can create a product. So I actually haven't focused that much on this aspect of it. I haven't even, I guess, publicized it that much or marketed it that much. But I think there might be some appetite for this because we've had a couple of people interested, although they've mentioned it, but they haven't really followed up. But this is something that I'm working on. I've looked at Rapid API. So they offer a similar service in the sense that you have an API, you can monetize it, but on their platform, you don't build the API. You must already have an API, and then you can just kind of plug it in with Rapid API. So I think this will kind of do both, and hopefully help with that aspect of it. But if I do go down this route, I would also need to enhance the landing page to actually have an API store, so people can actually view other people's APIs. But as for right now, all you can do is, if you do want to monetize, you have to set up your store, and then I guess you'd have to let people know that your store exists. They have to go into your store and buy your API. So there's no way for anyone to like organically find your store. So I'd have to add that option. But I think what I've done is I've kind of started off and I've kind of built anything that someone's asked. I've kind of added stuff on top. I still really haven't found that product market fit. I don't really know exactly the path I'm going to go down. I think the path I'd like to go down is the no-code path. So I have this no-code API builder. On top of that, I could build forms. I have charts, and then I think that would be pretty easy. One thing I want to do after that is also build components on top of it. So if you have a Google Sheets, you have loads of components. Sorry, you have loads of data. You can build a component example for one of your rows, and then it would automatically populate a bunch of different components for the data in your, say, Google Sheets. And then I think it would be a natural step to go from there to building a whole site, like a landing page. Because I've seen a lot of, I guess, people online looking to build landing pages. So I think like a no-code builder, this would be a natural next step for it. But yeah, this is what I have so far. Yeah, thanks for like.
This is really awesome, Khalil. This is, I think personally, people can easily use this, especially the fact that it's just drag and drop. There may be other drag and drop and other features out there on other sites, but I think you should continue along with it. If I was you, this is my suggestion. I would just integrate more data sources, not only like MongoDB or other types of SQL platforms, but also get into the new stuff, Astro, even maybe Redis for really fast caching operations. I think there's one called PlanetDB. There's a lot of new databases. There's even AI like databases, which is kind of interesting. Getting in the new stuff will definitely attract attention with the indie hackers because they're all always trying to get on the new tech. And if you can just integrate that like that, I mean, people are just going to be excited for that stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, right. Like there's AI vector database that I've seen pop up. I think if I had that, I could definitely like eat in or like go into the hype. So you can just, yeah, it's really good. Thanks.
You could also
Definitely.
try adding more third-party application integrations also.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
So what about if you can go back to the screen where you're designing everything, right? I see it said like CSV file, right? So where is that actually hosted? For example,
So
the file itself.
yeah, sure. So someone would I guess drag and drop their CSV file here, and then I would upload it to S3. So whenever they query it, it's an S3.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So first they have to upload it. Have you thought? Okay. So yeah, that's but then that's uploaded to your S3, right? S3 bucket.
Yeah.
Okay. So at some point, right, you can just say, you know, just allow users to add their own S3 bucket, right? And then just go through the bucket, and they can just select the files themselves, right? So that they don't have to wait for the upload process.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could have like S3 as the source here somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Can you show me some of the other sources that you have? Okay, Google Sheets. So you are for Google Sheets, it's the same thing, right? You just have to drag it and
Yes.
drop it. I mean, your own file. Okay. Oh, and
Yeah.
for the database.
Yeah, so for Google Sheets, I don't actually I don't store any of the information. So I actually
Okay.
go to Google Sheets every time. The only thing I store is when you connect your Google Sheet account, I store like your refresh token, right, which is what Google Sheet provides as part of the OAuth verification process. And then yeah, whenever you query it, I will query your Google Sheet. And the way you would add a link or add a new Google Sheet is you just paste the link in, follow everything.
Okay, and as for the database, right? You have the Postgres database, right? So yeah, there's the configure thing. Okay, so you have to probably type in some credentials or something.
Yeah, this is the same. So you'd have to. Sorry, I should have moved this. Yeah, you have to type in what your credentials are, and then I encrypt this and store this on my database. And then whenever you read it, decrypt it through your database.
Okay. Perfect.
Something I'm considering as well is letting people, instead of them having to have their own database, have another option where they can connect to a database that I'm hosting. And that way, yeah, they don't have to manage their service.
Yep, that makes sense.
And so once you've created one in a project example like this one, you can query the API anytime. Like it's always up and running.
Yeah. So I use Elastic Beanstalk, just as a bunch of like EC2 servers. So there's no like cold start on as like you do in AWS Lambda, right? So it'll just it'll return quickly.
So yeah, so you're not even using serverless, which is actually a great idea. Yeah, those cold starts will get you.
Yeah.
Very cool. You know what would be an interesting feature is being able to have a scheduler. So it's like, I want this specific API that I built on your platform to run, I don't know, every 5 minutes, minute, hour, however long, every night. And then it just outputs that data maybe, or forwards that response to another API, which you could define on here. In sense, kind of creating like a scheduled microservice for whatever it is you're trying to do. That'd be something kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Let me write it down.
Yeah, these are basically just like ETL jobs then at that point, right? So you can do it in the, what's it called, like CloudWatch, right? If you're on AWS. So you have CloudWatch events, you schedule them, like you said, for once every day or whenever, right? And if you have like a couple of APIs, you just send them from one to another, and that's it. Yeah, and then you can just call them jobs or whatever, and show them on the left-hand side as well. yeah, I think that would be a good way forward
Uh,
as
also,
well.
also, is this a single node connection, or can you have multiple flexible workflows also?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Like you could have multiple threads running together, integrations.
Oh, as in you can connect this to this, and then you could
Oh,
have
yeah,
like,
yeah. So you have
yeah,
multiple connections also.
yeah, and then you can also join
Good,
data
good.
if you want. But yeah, thanks so much. So I think the thing that I'm actually struggling with right now though is getting users. So I've been posting on Twitter and Reddit. I think Indie Hackers hasn't really worked for me. I posted about twice. And I've been getting maybe 1 to like 3-4 users a week. And I think it's been okay, but they're not really active users. So I'm trying to find, I think once I have at least 1 active user, even if they're not paying, at least I can figure out what they're really using it for, and then go down into that route. But until then, I think what I've just been doing is I've just been building out features and then posting every now and again. Just kind of waiting. So I'm not sure if that's the right strategy. Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any suggestions.
I think with a service like yours, you have to reach out.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to reach out because this isn't something you're going to immediately like pick up. It's not like an AI image generator. It's like, oh, I feel like generating an image for fun or for work or whatever. This is like a service, and you have to reach out to companies or small companies or individuals and just say, hey, is this something you think you could use?
How, do you have any advice on where I could find these companies?
Any startup, right? Startups are most likely to adopt this, something that's like new.
Yeah, I don't know where you would go or if there's like a good site. But honestly, people put their startups on their like Twitter page or their Twitter profile. So if you see like a startup, you have to do your own research,
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of like reach out to like a founder. Just cold open if you have to. Cold email, cold DM or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun. As an engineer, like that's like the last thing I want to do personally. But I don't have a marketing team, but so you gotta just be your own advocate, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks.
So if you want to get some users, even though some people don't like this approach, is to offer lifetime deals, right? And you've got a lot of Facebook groups, even though people think that there's not much activity there, but there is. Like, so on Facebook groups, you've got a lot of lifetime deals, groups that deal with these, right? Because they just want some good deals that are for the upcoming services. So you can just find these groups and join there, right? And just advertise what you have and tell them, look, I'm going to launch this soon, right? So I'm offering a lifetime deal for my app, and that's how you get your first couple of users, right? So you'll actually have some kind of initial investment in a way, plus you'll get some users that are going to validate your app, and they're going to tell you, what to build next. So it's a win-win situation both for you and for the initial group of users. So you can go that route as well.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. I hadn't really thought about reaching out to Facebook groups.
Yeah, I'm there all the time, so people are really helpful, and yeah, they are really looking for new deals all the time.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
I guess it's all clearly easy to understand, I guess. Just visualization of API builder, which is actually cool. Right now, everybody is going to no code platforms, and one of these platforms coming up is actually really good.
Yeah, totally agree. But yeah, thank you, Khalil, for joining and also sharing this. I've always been excited ever since I saw this. I've just been like, yes, I kind of like really want this just to speed up certain processes, like, so I've always tried to be very supportive, and I had to get you on here. So definitely keep it up, man. Keep it up. With that being said, Mara, would you like to go next?
Actually, not today because I'm not even at home, right? So I don't have my laptop with me, just my iPad. But I'll just give you a quick update. The stuff that we've been talking about last time, right? Yeah, I was talking about like literally adding your own AWS account and then setting it up. So that's working now. You can literally just go add all the credentials, right? And at that point, you just need to click, one button and it's set up, and it takes around 2 minutes, right? So the process takes 2 minutes, your account is set up, and then you can go and, set up the infrastructure. So that part is done, but what I've changed, I've said that I'm going to probably do, just give it out for free until it's like the MVP is like completed, but I've decided to actually go down the route of pre-sale, right? So I'm gonna allow users like to do some pre-orders, because that's what's actually going to validate if someone is willing to pay for this or not, right? So I'm gonna release this thing, right, together with some kind of like maybe 25% off or whatever, and yeah, I'm gonna see what happens then. So next time I'm going to probably have, I'm sure going to have more to show, but yeah, for today, that's it.
You have experience with selling and pricing models with other projects, right? That you've done in the past.
Not really. This is my like first time, yeah, that I'm also doing this. So what I can tell you, what I'm doing is, for example, if you go, like I said last time, if you remember, I'm currently aiming for no-code developers, right? Wanna help them with building their projects, and the two most popular platforms that I know of are Bubble and Webflow. But it costs, they're just charging you too much for the data storage. So that's why I'm building, what I mentioned last time, Codesmash, where you can just basically host on your own AWS account, and it's going to be much cheaper, right? So that's what I'm doing right now. So basically trying to reach out to no-code developers and just showing them what I have. And currently, yeah, I got more than 40 signups. Looks like they're interested, but like I said, I don't really have anything to give them. So until they actually, join, until they actually sign up to the website, right? They literally set up their own account and save the first stack that I showed you last time, right? Then they can say, hey, look, this is actually working. My stuff is actually being shown on my own account. Only then can I, expect them to start paying something, right? So that's literally like the next milestone.
Very cool. I'm excited for you. I think Codesmash is a great idea, and I honestly think somehow you can integrate Codesmash with CodelessAPI. Honestly, there's a definite way to integrate the cloud functionality.
Yeah. I'm going to open it up at some point so that people can also create stuff like open source stuff, like providers. Currently, I'm going to be only supporting AWS, right? But since it's all going through Terraform anyway, right? Then anyone can just go and create something for like Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud, whatever, right? It's not that big of a deal. I'm also going to open it up for plugins, right? So there could be a CodelessAPI plugin. I also intend to, and Khalil, yeah, you should do this too. Just go to Bubble or Webflow, and they also have plugins, and just create your own CodelessAPI plugin for, Bubble, and people will see it listed there, right? So that's one way to get exposure. So instead of them doing whatever they need to do in Bubble, they can just go to CodelessAPI and make the whole thing, much easier, and that's it. But yeah, the point is to have an easy integration with what they're already using, right? So if they're already in this Bubble or Webflow ecosystem, right, and they need just this one more thing that you're building. That's the easiest way to, you know, reach out to them, to new users.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a great idea. And,
Yeah.
sorry, I was interested. So, you know, you said you had 40 signups. So how did you get 40 signups?
I literally just posted on Twitter, you can sign up now. Okay, one more thing, that, and don't know whether you've done that. Probably you didn't. Do you have a mailing list?
I don't. No, I shouldn't have.
Okay, so see, that's the thing. I actually started my mailing list. I created like a landing page, and I can tell you exactly what I used. It's called a MailChimp, right? So like the easiest thing in the world, you just create a landing page with the MailChimp, you buy a domain. And I just said, you know, it's going to be able to do this, it's going to be able to do that. And at first it was supposed to be like, you know, no code website builder, like Webflow, right? But later on, I decided that, wait, that's kind of too much of a competition. There is no point in competing with the Webflow, right? I'm going to first try to do something much smaller, which is just building custom backends, right? And yeah, I created a landing page there and started collecting emails. And I was actually able to, until now, collect, what is it, like 280 emails. And once it was actually ready, right, I've created some of the stuff that I've shown on the last session. Yeah, just 40 signups were there. And wow. I did notice that, yeah, some of the people who are in my mailing list are actually in the signups. So yeah, it does work. You need to just create a mailing list, and that's it. It's not that big of a deal.
That's really cool, man. That's a lot of people signed up. That's awesome.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Very cool.
And you have to make sure just focus on a niche. Just don't go too broad, right? Like building something that's, you know, encompasses everything. Just try to pin down your niche. Like I said, like no code developers, right? Specific platform, mention like their platform, like Bubble, Webflow, or whatever, and then target them. That's going to be much better than just trying to, you know, reach everyone.
Mm-hmm. Good advice.
Yeah, advertise like that.
Yeah, I can definitely say for myself, I don't have much experience with marketing or branding. I'm just an engineer. I'm just out here, but
just building stuff.
But that's part of why I want to start incubators, you know, is to get not only the exposure out of and talk about the technology, but to also just get ideas as to how do I like learning marketing through like sharing through each other. So it's just valuable because as a indie dev, you know, you got to do it on your own unless you want to start into a startup or whatnot. So you got to learn all the skills. You got to be the complete solopreneur / engineer. But yeah, it's just good. That's why communities like this are important, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't work without you doing the sales, right? So if you actually watched some of those Y Combinator videos, right? They literally say, when you start your startup, right, do not outsource sales. The person who is the founder needs to do the sales at first, right? Because only then are you going to learn who your customers are and what your customers need. And then you're going to be able to understand what to build. So you just have to do sales, whether you like it or not at first.
Absolutely. Sam Altman, right? That's Sam Altman, right?
I don't know who say it. I mean, I watched like hundreds of videos already.
No, Y Combinator is good. I definitely recommend everyone check or watch some of those sessions out.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's good. It's a good resource. I guess I'll share. I don't have that much, but I have a little bit more. So, screen. You guys can see my screen.
Okay, dark theme, right?
Yeah. It's still the same. So from last time, this is Command Center. I have not personally worked too much on the homepage. But for those who are new, yes, go ahead.
Here, Apolsor, you can take this as an inspiration to make a documentation page somewhat like this, for your Discord bot.
Yeah, actually, I could host this on my official website since I'm already hosting a React page there. I could just make a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So,
but this is Command Center. What is Command Center? Command Center is a platform for remotely managing your machines that you have. It could be an AWS machine, could be a personal machine, like a gaming machine, Raspberry Pis, Mac. So it's cross-platform, and it's all about remote management. I have two separate, or actually three separate suites. I have what I call Backdoor API, Remote Control, and Backdoor Agent. I'll get into I'll talk about all three of them, and I can also demonstrate some of it. So Command Center is the web app that manages all your devices. Backdoor API is literally an API that you download onto one of your machines, and it acts as a automation platform for running terminal commands or running applications remotely. So I can be all the way out in another country. My computer can be turned on, running Backdoor API, and I can tell it, okay, turn on the camera from all the way there. I want to get a screenshot of what's going on with this computer. Not only see its screen remotely, but also turn on the camera and get a picture of what's going on in the physical space that the computer's located if you want it. Remote control is literally it's like a Microsoft remote desktop, but for web. So instead of having to install or have Microsoft remote desktop set up and all that stuff, you can just have a web version and can remotely control or have a Microsoft remote desktop experience anywhere, from any machine. You don't, the software to run on the host machine, you just install there, but you could remotely control this machine not only on your laptop. I could log into one of your guys' computers and remotely control my same machine if I wanted to. So it just gives you full range access technically to the machines that you own and that are associated with your Command Center account. So there's a register page here, enter in a bunch of relatively sensitive information. But I'm going to go ahead and log in to my account.
Was the age criteria for this, since there's a date of birth?
That's a good question. There's no age criteria yet. I just think I'm just collecting that information just because this is your machine and these are your machines. And so you got to know. There's no actual age criteria, but I would say maybe at least 18 plus, because you are exposing your machine, your machines that you register, they are being exposed to the internet. And so a level of, responsibility and security needs to be in place. So maybe 18 years and older. Maybe, we'll see. Let me go ahead and log into my account. And so here we have the dashboard page. And so you have your computers and IoT devices. So this is where Backdoor Agent comes in. So Backdoor Agent is a software that I've created for running and hosting Raspberry Pis as IoT devices. So Raspberry Pi has a GPIO board, so you can connect Arduinos. It's kind of like a microcontroller, right? But it's also a computer from a Raspberry Pi. So I can control lots of little devices like sensors. So heat sensors, temperature sensors, ultrasonic sensors, motion sensors, cameras, LEDs, all these kinds of different little electronic components. And so a backdoor agent is an API that can remotely control these sensors to collect data. So you can trigger the API, say, hey, turn on the motion sensor and activate it. Set a certain threshold for when an object gets too close to the sensor, send an alert to the user. So it's like stuff like that. I can kind of demonstrate the backdoor agent stuff, but what I really can show you is backdoor API as well as remote control. Any questions?
Okay.
Yeah, for the
No, it's fine.
for the backdoor agent. So in your example, the Raspberry Pi would notify you that it's gone too close to something, for example, right?
Yeah.
But can you send messages to the Raspberry Pi?
Yes. So I can turn on the sensors remotely from anywhere and change settings and all that stuff. Yeah. So I'm gonna go to this. So this is my personal computer. This is the computer that I'm currently hosting the Zoom from.
Does this have a voice connected feature like hey Siri, connect to Predator computer, something like that?
Oh, like a voice feature? No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. That's an interesting idea though.
So you instead of logging in to your web, you can just save it on the device on Siri, Alexa, or something like that, and you can just say, "Hey Siri, connect to Predator," and it would instantly connect, and it would give you a IP to your phone, which is linked to the same home app. That would be good. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that'd be cool integration with like a phone app, like an iOS app, or maybe if I created it in React Native and add like plugin features to do stuff like that. That's a cool idea. But let me get back to this. So there's some bugs here and there, and the UI is, I'm not a UI designer guy, so it's all right. But let me go ahead and remote control this. So it's going to load up the computer, puts the host name here, and here we have, and this right here is a screenshot of what's going on with my computer. So I can literally interact with all these things right here.
Okay, so this is all running on the web, right?
Oh,
this is what?
So you can see actually how the remote computer is running on the website, right? You don't need a desktop app. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so remote desktop or remote control and backdoor API are APIs written in Node.js. So it's in JavaScript. It's not in like C or Python or any of the lower level languages. But I mean, it's kind of worked out because I like JavaScript and I like the Node.js runtime environment. But yeah, you can essentially remote control this machine. So if I want to open up the file explorer here, it will do so.
It's completely functional Windows 10 over here on the web.
Yes. And so what you're seeing here, this image, this is actually a screenshot. So this image of the desktop is a screenshot. And so how I have it working is it pings so Command Center, the web app, sends an API request to grab a screenshot from the remote machine, and then it sends it back. Remote control, well, actually specifically this program is using a socket server since it's more real time. So it can send the data a little bit faster. APIs, like if you were to use strictly an API to grab screenshot information and such, it would take quite a bit. It's a lot slower. So I switched to a socket server. So yeah, I can do a bunch of things here.
What if you delete a file on the web? Will it actually get deleted on the real file explorer?
Yes. So everything you're doing here is this is not virtualized. This is direct to the machine. So there is a security issue with that, but I have implemented API keys. So every command you send has it checks and compares with an API key that you're passing in with the request. It's not encrypted. I haven't really played around with SSL or TLS security too much, but I just because like having like self-signed certificates is never, it's very difficult, and for production use, like kind of need to have like an actually signed an actual signed certificate for it to, like, for Chrome to accept it as a place that's secure and safe. But for now, I'm just using normal HTTP. But alongside HTTP, it's also it uses API keys to compare and make sure that things are running, or that an actually authorized user is allowed to be making commands and such. But yeah, everything here that you see, can control Discord. But yeah, it's like basically a remote control, like a remote desktop environment.
So what is the 2 columns down saying download and upload?
So this is one of the cool features. This is one thing that like Microsoft Remote Desktop does not have. You can't, like, there's no download upload feature. So if I want to grab a file from this remote machine here, you can't do that with the normal Microsoft ones. I'm sure they could have implemented that if they wanted, but I think they don't do it for security reasons. But I really want that personally. I need that because I want to transfer files between here, and I don't always want to use cloud storage. Like,
Yeah, it's actually very frustrating to upload it to Drive and then download it from the other system. So
yeah,
this could be actually good feature.
yeah. That's kind of why I want it, is just because I need the control. Let me go to downloads, a bunch of stuff in here. But I can go ahead and, actually, this isn't really the best, since I'm doing it from the same computer. I can't upload and download. It doesn't make sense. But if I should have brought my laptop down and I could have done it from there. But yes, these are functional. I can upload from my current machine. I can upload files on my machine to the remote machine. And I can also download files from the remote machine onto my the machine I'm using. So you can do this. You can supply the path. You can put all these different files in here and stuff, and select it. There is a drag and drop feature for uploading. So if you had a file, you could just drag it and drop it into this screenshot window. And that's a possibility. But yeah, that was one of the features I really wanted to have, was download and upload, because it's just like, there's just no good way. I don't like emailing files to myself. That's kind of like, I don't know, that's not cool. And I don't always want to use cloud, especially for things that are really like sensitive and important. Like, let's say it's financial documents or certain code that you don't really want, that you don't want to be necessarily exposed to the cloud or something. So that's why I created or added these kinds of features. There's some other features. I go back to the dashboard. I can go to this control panel page. This control panel page strictly works, or strictly uses backdoor API. So it makes API calls. There's a bunch of different paths and routes, API calls you can make. There's a heartbeat right here. And there's an output screen here. And this basically just does a simple status check. Is the machine online? Is it working properly? I can also do screenshots. This is a UI issue. This is a non-interactable screenshot. There's nothing you can do here, but it's just a static image. I can send, I think this one is logs. So this is specifically, I can grab all the logs of all the commands, including IP addresses and all that stuff, that like showing who's actually interacting with this machine, and all that stuff. I can send terminal commands, shell commands, which it's not available yet, as well as, I don't know if this works on, but I can also turn on the camera. It's already turned on, so I don't know if it'll work, but let's see.
There's an app which got opened.
Yeah, so obviously it won't work, but yeah, you can turn on the camera remotely. It's a little weird, but hey, if you like to turn your computer into like some sort of surveillance device, you could do that, I guess. And it shows all the output of all the commands that you're sending and if they're successful or not. It also gives you a timestamp and everything. Yeah, and though I'll add more commands and all that stuff. one feature that I want to have is to be able to write your own custom commands, and all that stuff, as well as being able to, download and yeah, just pretty much give you full control remotely if you wanted to. Yeah, that's what I have right now. This was an EC2 environment that I had. This is a sensor device that I have. I actually have it turned off right now, as you can tell by the red status. But yeah, that's what I have for Command Center. Any questions?
Yeah, I think it's super cool, man. I really like
Thanks.
it. But I had a couple of questions. You said you're using sockets.
Mhm.
Can you set it up so that you're just streaming data and you're not taking the screenshot every time?
I could, as I have it now, it's like hard coded to always be sending screenshot data when you're using like remote control, the remote control functionality. So this is like always streaming. This, as it's set up now, it will always be streaming a new screenshot. Yeah, I could turn that off. I could add a feature where you don't want to see the screenshot. And you can just turn it off.
Oh, sorry. So already right now, if it's like real time, it's sending the screenshot every, I'm guessing like second, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much real time.
Oh, okay. But is that an API call that you're making every second, or is that like you already have a connection between the two machines, and it's just streaming the data?
Yeah. So it establishes a connection upon clicking on so once you click on remote control, it will then establish the socket connection between the local machine and the remote machine.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
And so, and you mentioned that there's a file transfer isn't on Windows.
Yes.
Like the upload, download stuff.
Yeah.
I thought there was something like Windows SCP or something, like some secure, I don't know, file transfer protocol.
Yeah, there is SCP. I know what you're talking about. Is that a default program though? Built into Microsoft?
I'm not sure.
No.
I know I've used WinSCP. It's got like a UI interface. I just assumed it was using something that was already pre-built, pre-came with Windows, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I've used SCP in like work and all that stuff. As far as I know, I don't know if that's actually a default program installed on all Windows machines. If it was, then it's probably a better system to use actually. But this is a nice, just like simple way of just doing it all in one,
Yeah,
all one platform.
Also, does it work on a cross-platform? Say like I want to send file from Windows to my Mac. Does that work?
Yes, this is a cross-platform because it's Node, because I built it in Node. I can install all this on a Mac device. Same, you'll see the same effect. You can run remote desktop as well as Backdoor API, as well as Linux machines. Like Backdoor Agent works on my Raspberry Pis. I've never tried Backdoor API on it because I always envisioned Raspberry Pis as more of an IoT kind of device. But if I had like a Ubuntu machine or some other like Arch Linux, I definitely should try installing it and seeing how well it works there. But yeah, all the API requests, they universally work on other platforms.
Have you? Was it in sales?
Oh boy, I haven't even gone there yet.
Oh,
I've been more building out the features that I want and need. And it's actually like, I think like the second or third time I've actually shared this. I've been working on it for a while whenever I get time. But yeah, I definitely want to get more input from other people who are interested in seeing this and maybe even using it. But yeah, I'm not focused on sales or any of that at all.
Also, how do you establish a connection? Is there an end-to-end point token system or something like that?
So it kind of works more similarly to like how like Khalil's API system works. So when you create a project on Codeless and you can grab the API link, it kind of works like that. So each remote machine that you install Backdoor API on and remote control on, it has a specific route and path. One of the downsides of installing remote desktop is that you have to port forward on your router if you want to use it. I'm thinking about ways of kind of like getting around that, because most people don't know anything about the routers. They don't know anything about port forwarding for that matter. So that's kind of like a technical issue / like blocker. But maybe I can use some sort of like reverse proxy to make it so you don't have to do, so that the user does not have to set up or change settings on their router at all. These are things that are issues that are down the line that I hope I never have to deal with. But yeah, there's some stuff there, but it works like any other API. Yeah, that's what I have.
I think
Okay, I have several things that you could do. Let's see. When it comes to, yeah, so this could be aimed for like system administrators, right? Because if you have a large data center, whatever, and there are a lot of companies that are still not on the cloud. Even if they are, they're probably going to be using EC2 instances, right? Just like you've shown that you can use. So you can do analytics, right? You could just get a ton of data from all the machines and just show them on the screen and say, okay, this one's doing well, this one is low on memory or whatever. So that's one thing that you could do. Just unified analytics for like hundreds of your servers, right? No one's going to want to necessarily go and check each one individually, right? So that's one thing you can do. And you can literally pull the data from all of those. The second thing is, what's it called? Oh, like doing batch commands, right? Again, you have 100 servers, right? No one's going to want to go and start a service. Let's say service goes down, log into every single service, do this, do that, just batch and start the same service on all the servers, right? There are many such examples that people would need. That's one thing. And what's the other one? You shown the file upload and download, right? You should just put an option that so that's not enabled by default, right? For security purposes, right? So that, and you said that you can upload just by dragging and dropping, right? You can now also, I think, if you integrate that into the shell, right? So if you right click on a file, you can say upload to, or like download to the current system, something like that. If it can detect which machine is connected to the remote one, you just click upload to my system, right? So you can do it like that, if you get what I'm saying. And if you're going to, like try to do sales for this, just reaching out to companies that that are still, on premise or using a lot of EC2, and just make sure that kind of you will be trying to replace, let's say, what's it called, Windows remote desktop, right? Just ask them, what features are you missing with the remote desktop, which is obviously one of the obvious ones are the ones that you show them upload and download, right? So that could be one thing that you could do. Yeah,
I love that advice. And in my own job, I deal with a lot of EC2s and also customer virtual machines. And it's just a pain in the ass trying to always log into each machine through Citrix, which is a popular company in software for hosting. They're good software. They're just missing features. And so, that was kind of one of the inspirations, is just having the features.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. That's good advice. But thank you guys for listening to me and also just joining. I love seeing everyone's projects and stuff. And I just want to generate that community, supportive community. So I love it. This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun.
just think we need to keep inviting more people. I mean, today we have 5, right? It's just everyone who joined, just invite another person, and we're going to keep growing. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, if more people do join, it gets a lot bigger. Definitely would interested in switching platforms, because like Zoom is great for small, but definitely if you're scaling up, you definitely got to go to a little bit better platform that handles more people more easily. But that's all down the line. We'll see where this goes. Let's just have fun with it for now and just keep it casual and just be what we are right now for now. But yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
I have a pretty cool idea that I don't think anyone's thought of this, but for your scenario, let's say security is a big issue. So what you probably can do is maybe start or create a virtual machine or container from there. I don't know how that will work, maybe a script, but let's say you want to create a Windows subsystem for Linux instance. You could just install Ubuntu into your system and set it up like that and access the terminal within that scope. So you don't have full control over your computer.
Oh, interesting. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
That is a lot more secure, because I'm pretty sure containers, there's no shared memory between the actual physical machine and the instance itself. I don't know if there's shared memory, if they cross in any way, but that's a cool idea, actually.
So you mean you would be logging into that by default, right?
I think so. Yeah.
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 Also, you should consider having security tokens, end-to-end points.
Yeah. I know. There's so much to do. There's so much with security that's just like so difficult, but it's like so darn important. Yeah. Cool. Is there anything else that anyone wants to share before we wrap this up? Any other like upcoming projects, side projects besides the ones that you guys showed? Any last minute updates, alerts, whatever? No.
Nothing else. I'm just working on open agri map for India's crops. That's it.
What's that?
It gives you climatic, temperature, soil, fertility rate, everything for whole of India.
Oh wow.
State-wise, district-wise, every type. So a sneak peek for everybody. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can show that if it's in any showable state next. Not yet.
It's not yet.
Yeah.
I have to just import maps, then customize it. It's still a long process.
Okay.
Very cool. All right. So I will definitely be working on, so after this, I'm going to be working on the video, uploading it and all that stuff. Awesome. I'm thinking about, so I'll definitely put all your guys's put your name as well as what your project and a URL to it. So that way people can look at the description and just immediately get access to your Twitter page, as well as the link to your current production build, your MVP. That way people can have access to that. And I'm also thinking about not only having a full length video like we have now, but also break it down into separate videos for just each person and their presentation. Do like clips of that and all that stuff.
That would be good.
Yeah, you guys can use that for your Twitter posts and all that stuff.
Also, you should show them the logo. I think you should.
Oh, the logo that you came up with?
Yeah, I think you should show them. We should see how their reaction is. Yeah,
definitely. I'll do another post that shows off the logo you created, which I really like. For Incubator. Cool.
Dad. One more thing for the YouTube, right? If you add the logo,
banner.
and like the splash screen, right? I mean
Banner.
the image on the top. Yeah, the banner. So just add that, and it's going to look like, you know, it's a real thing.
Cool. Cool. Any other requests in terms of like adding more stuff about you guys in like description, or even added into the video to help like promote your stuff? Anything, any
Yeah.
ideas there?
Just the name, project, and
Yeah.
social link. That would be good. That's it. Keep it simple, straight.
Okay.
I
Cool.
think maybe if you have some kind of editor, you could just add some Twitter handles on the screen, some profile picture, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Definitely want to promote you guys and all of the hard work you put into your projects and MVPs. Okay, cool.
Thanks.
Definitely will look into that, guys. Thanks for joining.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
thanks a lot. Thanks for hosting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for hosting, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Until next time, everyone.
Yeah, talk to you next time, guys. Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Keon. Thank you for hosting us again.
Absolutely.